Mom, do I have a Jewish heart? Of course you do, darling. We're Democrats. When my son was an infant, people would say, how could you possibly have a newborn and look this good? I told them it's really quite simple. I exercise every single day, eat only healthy foods, and he's adopted.
That's good stuff. And the star, the writer of this one-woman performance is right here. Monica Piper is star and writer of the Off-Broadway comedy Not That Jewish at the New World Stages, 340 West 50th Street in Manhattan. Good to see you.
It's good to be here.
Give us the premise, Not That Jewish. Where does it come from?
It comes from, as a child, well, we didn't belong to a temple when I was growing up.
Where?
In the Bronx.
Okay.
But actually, on the High Holy Days, my mother would make us dress up and stand in front of the apartment building so it looked like we just got home from temple.
As if you had gone.
As if we had gone. She played it. Lovely service. She played it. But I had a little neighbor, 7 years old, just like me, who said, did you really go to temple? And
did you have guilt?
I had a little guilt. I did.
I'm Catholic. We have it too. So.
We have that in common, right?
Yes, we do.
We have that in common. But I just, she said, well, you're not really Jewish. If you don't go to temple on Rosh Hashanah, you're not really Jewish. Yes, I am. How? If you don't go to temple, my mommy and daddy and aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas are Jewish. Well, okay, I guess, but you're not that Jewish.
Not that Jewish?
I had no idea what that meant. What does that mean to be not that Jewish? So I asked my father, what does that mean? And I asked my mother, and I asked my grandmother, and they all give me different ideas that there's no such thing, basically. You're Jewish or you're not. And my grandma says what's important is that you got a Jewish heart. So I guess my life is an exploration kind of what does it mean to have a Jewish heart. And when I adopt a child and I decide it's important to raise him as a Jewish man, and I'm not even sure why.
You have to define what that means, by the way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What
does it mean to raise him as a, quote, Jewish man?
To have certain qualities of what I thought my grandmother meant as someone having a Jewish heart. And through the course of the show, we realized that I'm talking about humor and doing good deeds and being compassionate and being accepting. And at the end, I realized you don't have to be Jewish to have those things. You see, there's a little crisis at the end because he tells me that he's not really Jewish. After I've spent that entire part of my adulthood trying to raise a Jewish man.
Not Jewish.
And he says, Mom, I'm not Jewish. And I go, what are you talking about? Of course you're Jewish.
But hold on, but the clip we just saw, Monica, you said, of course we're Jewish, we're Democrats. You have to be Democrat to have that hard? You know how many Republicans watching right now are going, wait a minute, you just offended us. Not your intent.
I am sorry.
Not your intent.
Not my intent to offend anybody.
It's just humor.
No, I'm telling you what, from my parents' point of view, because they were union people.
Oh, really?
I
wouldn't know anything about what you're talking about.
But anyway, one thing that you need to know about this show is you don't have to be Jewish to love the show, because it's really not...
It's not inside?
Not at all. It's about, it deals with really universal things. It deals with family. It deals with the love of the family. It deals with a single woman deciding, first of all, to become a comedian.
That's right. And your dad was a comedian?
My dad he was a very funny man. He was actually, he called it a vocal pantomimist. He did record act. He lip synced to popular records, adding funny physical shtick. But what I think a lot of especially the women will take away, but it's not a chick show, guys. You'll like it. The men end up laughing more than the women half the time, but they're all laughing. But it deals with a single woman going into kind of a man's world of comedy where,
That's you.
very few women were doing stand-up when I started doing it. And then a single woman adopting.
How about a single woman dealing with an illness?
And a single woman, well, I think
Is that a big part of it?
many women in the audience can relate to being diagnosed with cancer. But my take on it was I had cancer in a teenager at the worst time. I mean, at the same time. So obviously the cancer's worse, but I actually said to a friend, I know, but I actually said to a friend, do you know anyone else where cancer might not be the worst thing in the house? That's how bad my teenager was for a year, but he's great now.
I love how you're playing to that camera right now.
I'm sorry.
You can find a camera anywhere, can't you?
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. I like how you do it. Were you born to perform?
I think so. But I was born to perform because my father's one of the funniest men on the planet. So I was born with very funny parents.
The funny genes.
Funny genes. My mother was had a different sense of humor, very clever, very dry. Mom, guess what? I'm an actress. That's fabulous. What are you in? Well, I don't have a play or a movie or a series or anything, but I'm an actress. Sweetie, that's such a coincidence because I'm a queen. I just don't happen to have a country, but...
Very dry.
Very dry, very
Boy,
sarcastic, whereas my father was shticky.
Yes.
But I was born to perform, but I didn't... My mother was the practical one who said, you must get an education, So I was a high school English teacher for a long time. I started in Yonkers, teaching right here.
I bet you're taking all those experiences, and if you don't mind, I'm going to plug the play again. It is called Not That Jewish, and you could be Italian American, you could be you could be from anywhere.
Anywhere.
It doesn't matter. It's called Not That Jewish, and Monica Piper is the star of this one-woman performance.
And writer.
And look at you plugging. New World Stages. 340 West 50th Street, over on the west side of the island of Manhattan. I want to thank you for joining us on One-on-One.
Thank you
Public
so
television. We appreciate it. Stay right there.
So much fun. Thank you.
It was great. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I will.
Right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by TD Bank, Suez, Partners for Health Foundation, the Russell Berry Foundation, ShopRite Supermarkets, the Northward Center, and by Gary's Wine and Marketplace. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.